Alright, and hello everyone! Welcome back to yet another match of the Touhou Project Mania Cup. I'm messing this up already, but okay, anyways, we got two teams facing off against each other for the final match of the round of 32 bracket. We've got none other than Oh My Day Skylanders Seed 8 going up against Mystia's Izakaya Patrons Seed 25. Both of these teams having made it out of some pretty tough matches back in the group stage, but overall going to be facing each other in the round of 32 to start things off. So got some very, very recognizable faces in both their teams. But before we get into that, of course, I'm your host, Epic Man 2, and joining alongside me is going to be none other than Sparky. What's rocking?
Not much. I mean, been excited to see the final matches here get played through. Very exciting matches so far. Round of 32. I mean, we already got through a couple of weeks of group stage, so excited to finally get done with this first bracket weekend. And it'll be interesting to see how Mystia's Izakaya Patrons stacks up against Oh My Days here. Another pretty wide seed discrepancy, but if it goes anything like our previous match, we might be in for a bit of a show here.
Yeah, absolutely. And knowing the fact that both of these teams are already very, very familiar with each other, basically all of Oh My Days having basically a good majority of the MWC UK team alongside Dragon, who's a team captain as far as I remember, and Mystia's Izakaya Patrons basically as I mentioned in the past, basically being a bit of a Trojan horse built by Squiddy, who's basically well known for his appearances in various tournaments in the past, such as 4DM, but also basically bringing a bunch of other people into the fray here. So we got the likes of Verdon, Puffenkohl, and also Wander Yonder, who are basically all really well-rounded players, and also a well-rounded team in general to just basically fill out holes that may be needed for the maps here, as this is quite a diverse pool as usual. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it's one of those. I mean, when it comes to these kinds of tournaments, I feel like it just whoever feels like it. I don't really think there's ever a true captain anywhere. But regardless, we're just waiting on that first protect to come through here. Pretty interesting. There's been some pretty balanced team scores overall from Izakaya Patrons that might give them a bit of reason to deliberate as to, okay, do we want to protect an LN? Do we want to protect the Rice? But it's kind of a toss-up. It's going to end up being Rice 2 at the end of the day, so gonna give us a bit of an insight as to where their overall headspace is with regards to what their pick strategy might be. But I imagine the response from Oh My Days is going to be potentially one of these LNs getting protected. Very likely a Rice map could also get protected as well. It's basically pick of the litter at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we all know, Izakaya Patrons had basically just protected Rice 2 right off the bat. So with the jump stream map being protected, I'm kind of interested to see how Oh My Days is going to be responding to that. Whether it's going to be protecting maybe another Rice, or maybe going for something in the LN department. So maybe something a bit in their favor. But then again, any of these picks are going to be pretty dangerous overall, knowing that both these teams are well rounded. But it seems that they're going to be protecting LN1, so that's going to be Art Core Jinja being protected, and now we await their ban. It's going to be Rice 1 as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if Izakaya Patrons goes for yet another LN ban as well here, to sort of mirror the decisions that Oh My Day Skylanders has made here.
Yeah, just a retaliation kind of ban. I wouldn't be surprised if LN4 wasn't long for this world. It being a tiny bit harder in terms of overall patterning in comparison to the other LNs. I think it's colloquially known as an LN EX pick.
Yeah.
But my numbers brain wants to just refer to it as LN4. So maybe that. I mean, it really just comes down to what style of map in the LN pool they might want to get rid of, which one they might struggle with a little bit more. And I say struggle in the context of getting a score to rival your opponent, not really low scores, because I imagine they can swing a pretty good one. And sure enough, LN4 are going to be removed from the pool. We'll be getting into Mystia's Izakaya patrons, his first pick to start this map off, or match off rather, and going into the best of 9 format. I think the group stage being a best of 7 didn't really give teams enough time to really stretch out in terms of maybe potential risky first picks getting thrown out, but with a best of 9 you can kind of explore just that little bit more, especially as that first pick being able to be on the draw to start a match off might give us a bit of a surprise here. I wouldn't be the most surprised if we ventured away from the rice into maybe like hybrid 1, but more than likely it's probably going to be one of these rice picks.
Absolutely no, and it seems that they're going to be starting with Rice 5 right as you just said it. They're going to be starting the match off with none other than Okoro, one of the technical maps in this map pool. Is there anything else I'm really meant to say here? Because like I have a feeling that there might be a reason as to why they're choosing it, and it's not for like something strategic either.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those polyrhythmic hell type of picks where you see, you hear this and you're like, oh, why isn't 2L the artist behind it? But then you hear the song and it's like, oh, okay, it's just a take on it's befitting the tournament to say the least. So it's one of those, like, if you hear, or if you're aware of like 2L's existence as an artist, and you kind of think of those types of songs and how technical those maps can get, just apply that kind of logic to this song and this chart, and you kind of got the same thing. So we'll see how the two teams stack up. It's probably going to be Verdant and Wander being the kind of stalwart defense for Mystia's Izakaya patrons, kind of holding down the fort, and Oh My Days having basically a murderer's row of good players that can step in at any time. It's gonna be Zubin and Dragon in this instance to start things off here.
Yeah, absolutely. And knowing that Zubin and Dragon are insanely well versed when it comes to early game, I'm honestly kind of interested to see how the competition is going to be unfolding here, knowing that we have seen from Verdant and Wander's previous match in the group stage and they have done really, really well against some of their previous teams in that bracket alone to even manage to make it into the round of 32 bracket to begin with. And so far, so good. Getting into like getting exposed first things first with some of these like really rigid like rice patterns right out the bat. You got like some of these like jacks and also some of these really technical like patterns that just make no sense. They're basically just so disorganized in a way that it really just requires your attention to be able to really like try your best to hit it. And so far, everyone's basically everyone has their FCs on the board. It's just it's really more or less the discrepancy in terms of accuracy that is setting them apart, as we see Verdant and Wander not having as strong accuracies as Zubin on Dragon. On the other hand, Dragon holding on to the 99.95% and Zubin just only a mere integer behind, and Verdant basically just under the 99.90% accuracy mark, as now the score lead, it just slowly increases to about 3,000 points as we get into this course, which basically just throws a lot of these patterns at you where it's really just very, very unconventional, as the melody is just literally like just lost where it is, just as if it's like blind and it's just trying to like go somewhere without like sort of walking stick in a way.
Yeah, it's just a smorgasbord of different polyrhythmic structures that all 4 players were able to navigate with relative ease. The fact that I feel like we had 4 V1 double S's
What?
on that.
What the heck?
Imagine getting double 995k plus scores and losing the pick.
No.
What are these ratios? Are absolutely disgusting. And it's one of those where it's like you look at the scores on the other side, it's like, okay, hats off. Tip the cap. Fine. You needed to pull out all the stops to ensure that you got that break point. Fine, you can have it.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Dragon and Zubin really working, really cooperating really well on their performances there. Dragon just almost getting sub 50 on that map, which is just, how the heck do you even manage that? Even as like an early game, even as someone that's like basically like sort of capable of early game Rice maps as well as I am, it's like crazy to think about how you can even get a score like that in a match. And it seems like with Oh My Days Skylanders founding their first breakpoint as beginning things off, they're going to be taking their first pick as well. It's going to be none other than Hybrid 2, as you can see here.
Yeah, just going down into that lower half of the map pool. It's going to be a full team substitution. Ting, Momentum, and Mini Egg checking in now. And it's fun seeing teams being able to use their full roster, where it's like, okay, we have the two, like all four of us can play everything in this map pool, but two are reserved for one aspect of the map pool, the other two are reserved for the other half. So it's like there's always an answer, and when you feel like you finally game plan around what you predict the two players are going to be for any given map, bang, they switch it up on you and you have to face off against two other people, or like somebody else comes in and it just completely throws the formula into disarray. But that's enough speculation. It's going to be second map of this best of 11. Oh My Days Skylanders riding high off of that first breakpoint, an opportunity presenting itself very early to double up right out of the gate here to start putting some pressure on Mystia's Izakaya patrons.
Yeah, and as we've seen the full substitution from Oh My Days Skylanders, it seems that Izakaya Patrons is going to remain with the same lineup as earlier. So going to be seeing Verdant and Wonder facing off against Mini Egg and Ting Momentum here, as we can see, as we get into like this really early like sort of coordination oriented like section with like some bursts here, some of these like staggered LNs and LN Graces as well that can definitely throw a lot of people off. They're pretty like rigid in its own right, and it is something that can like throw many people off. And but with Mini Egg and Ting like being really well known for like being very high caliber when it comes to like these kinds of LN maps especially, like it really just makes all the more sense that they would have picked this out if they wanted to like just try and like use their full lineup early on, as basically just says the precedent that like they are like something that Oh My Days is a force to be reckoned with here. And especially here with Verdant and Wonder like having dropped their axes down a bit, unfortunately, that is only gonna do nothing but just cause, but this damage cause is just going to give the lead to Oh My Days for the time being, as we make it past the first half of this map. As we can see, getting through a lot of these really bursty trills and some of these like really rigid patterns in general, it doesn't seem to be phasing neither Ting or Mini Egg here for the time being.
Absolutely, and I mean, credit to Mystia's Izakaya patrons. They have not put a foot wrong so far in this match. It's literally just separated by the accuracy. They're putting the pressure on Oh My Days Skylanders' lineups to perform at their utmost near perfection levels. I mean, 99.8% accuracy on a hybrid chart, as complicated as the shorts round of 32, but it does have its little pitfall moments here and there where little mental errors could begin to creep up to cause a bit of disruption. And even despite their best efforts, as the map comes to an end, a 12,000 point cushion built off of this tandem that is Ting and Mini Egg, not much that Verdant or Wander could have done in this situation to take that point back, and Oh My Days Skylanders is going to be able to make it 2-0 to start this match off.
Yep, a strong effort from Oh My Days Skylanders to really just set that full precedent that they would have wanted in the match. So with Ting and Mystia getting like over 995k on this map. Ting Momentum having the strongest ratio, and Mystia not too far behind, bar like about just 6 perfects and a grade. That is something to be noted for the side of Mystia's Izakaya patrons here, with Verdun just basically making it over the 990k score mark, with Wonder not too far behind, but only about 3,000 points behind Verdun, as we saw there. And this is kind of looking really dangerous for Izakaya patrons here, as like they've yet to really secure a point, and with like 2 of these, and with like both a Rice map and a hybrid map like basically being played out now, they've basically seen like what each of the player individually in Oh My Day Skylanders is capable of in the Rice and some of the hybrid department as well. So, and namely with like some of these more technical maps. So I have a feeling that if they are gonna be like making the next pick, which they are going to be, they'll really have to like really like just try and just take into consideration like what would be the sort of thing to pierce through the shield of Oh My Day Skylanders here, because like they've built like quite a strong like foundation with what they had played earlier. So it's gonna probably take a bit of an uphill effort to really like face off against them and to try and take some points, maybe rely on some chokes to happen. But I guess for now it's either that they're gonna pick like, it seems like they're picking Rice 4, so that's gonna be Bloodpin near Watana.
Alrighty, so keeping the Protect in the back pocket, maybe still wanting to rely on the less conventional picks in the pool to try and find some inroads, because I imagine they want to reserve Rice 2 in that emergency case where it's like, okay, we're going to have to go into a ratio battle, we're gonna try and catch them on a miss or just a bad judgment somewhere and hope we don't trade it, because that's basically how those Rice 2 style of picks go at this level, where all 4 players are able to basically V1SS it on command. It's just a matter of how low can you get that 300 count, and given the bar that was set on Rice 5, it's gotta be basically double digit or bust for Verdun and Wander if they do decide to go into it. But that's a conversation for a later pick. They're gonna go into Rice 4 instead, a little bit shorter, and still plenty of opportunity to try to get a clean double FC run and hope that there's a miss on the other side.
Absolutely, and with this like map being like still in the technical side of things, so still following this sort of trend of just basically throwing out some technical maps to start things in a match and not going for some of these like more straightforward maps like during the match, during its first half at least. Like they've still got like quite a bunch of options left, but I have a feeling that both of these teams are really just throwing out some of these more technical maps just to like just sort of gauge like what each other are capable of. So Verdun and Wonder, so with Mystia's Izakaya patrons not having the upper hand, but but they can simply like use like some of these earlier picks, so Ekaro and also Hybrid 2, to just simply gauge like what the likes of Oh My Day Skylanders is potentially capable of. As we can see, Zubin and Dragon hanging on to nearly 100% accuracy with these Rice bursts being thrown. It is like relatively strong when it is relatively heavy on like the side of index streams, but it also has like quite a few mini jacks thrown here and there. So similar to Rice 3 from the group stage, this is basically like something that ramps the difficulty up a bit, and even then the score lead is not even that far apart from either team. It's biased on the side of Oh My Days for the time being, but it's only very, very slight misjudgments from Verdun and Wander that are even like just costing the point. So any mistake on the side of Oh My Days Skylanders is gonna really like cost them this point if anything was to happen.
Yeah, this is just a brick wall of a performance right now from both Dragon and Zubin. I mean, like I've been saying throughout this match, Wander and Verdun have not put a single key wrong throughout this match. No misses to speak of. Very low 200 counts on all of the maps. It's just you run into players sometimes that are able to just act things on demand at a range like this, where the density isn't too high, the reading requirement isn't the most intrusive in the world, and I mean, Zubin, very known for early game accuracy, Dragon developing over the last couple of years into an equal counterpart to them to be able to bolster their overall team performance scores as well, is something to behold, because very few players, or very few teams in this tournament, it feels like, can basically say that they have 4 players that can all complement each other and cover each other as gracefully as Oh My Day Skylanders has so far in this match. I mean, it's still early days. They scale very well into late game as well. These numbers really don't go any lower. Sure, a couple of mental mistakes may appear here and there, but at the end of the day, a 5,700 point difference just based on the accuracy alone. Again, double-digit 300 count V1 double S's are the order. 995k, 996k on the other side normally wins you a point. Not in this case.
Oh my god, wait, what is Zubin's score in this sub 40 perfects and 990k? No, 990k!
999.
999! Oh my god. How do you even manage this?
The joy of the joy of being able to play songs you enjoy. I think the buff of enjoying the music you're listening to kind of helps the performance aspect, and
yeah,
it's a sight to behold. Just players in their element, just letting things hang, as it were. And like I said, it's like normal circumstances, a 995, 996k tandem score will basically almost guarantee you a point in like 9 out of 10 matches. This is just the 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Oh My Day Skylanders still thriving off of all of their picks so far, the adrenaline appears to be really high from them in their own department, knowing that so far they have the upper hand and are basically halfway through in terms of like potentially being able to cause like a sweep for this match here, which is something that Mystia's Izakaya patrons is really not going to favor here. So with Oh My Day Skylanders picking out Ellen Ford, their protect, they're going to be swapping the lineup once again with Ting Momentum and Minia coming back into the lobby. I assume Verdant and Wonder are going to be staying on the side of Izakaya patrons, as we can see here. We'll just really have to see how they're going to be stacking up against here, because like we've seen from like 3 of these previous picks that so far things were not really looking the most equal in their advantage, just based off of like the raw accuracies alone that we have seen from Oh My Day Skylanders here. So yeah,
you go from the early game Rice Act team to the early game LN Act team. It's just just plug and play. Okay, cool. We're going into LN. We got the two folks that are going to be coming in, and sure enough, we load into this 4th map of this best of 11, and like it's definitely one of those matches where it's like you can't fault the performances from Verdant and Wander in this case. They are doing everything in their power humanly to try and wrench something out of these performances. They are putting up some insane scores in their own right. It's just they're getting overshadowed by equally, if not a half step better scores on the other side. You look at the scoreline, it's like, okay, a 5-0, fantastic, but you look at the score difference and the scores that are being put up, it's borderline not fair.
yeah. Sometimes this game is just too rigged these days. There's too many good players. The world is
good players.
The world is overpopulated. Why is there 8 billion people on this planet here?
And you somehow managed to run into the 2 players or the 4 players that can out-act you.
Yeah, literally.
What are the odds?
Why don't we all just move to why don't we all just move to Venus at this point? Like, I'm sure like there should be like some more even competition there, right?
You would hope so, but then you really reach the ETs. But anyways, going on
Yeah.
halfway through the map, more of the same. I mean, Ting locking it down with that 99.9, untouchable by all stretches of the imagination. Mini Egg being their reliable backup, being able to hold off Verdant and Wander basically by themselves as it stands. Wander picking up a couple of 200s, a little bit of a lower ratio, gonna bring him down into that mid 99% range, but still, these are near perfect performances from the side of Mystia's Izakaya patrons, and it's a 12,000 point lead in favor of Oh My Days just based on the accuracy alone. Nobody has found a miss so far in this match. We are 3 for 3 on the FCs, so I mean, we say mistakes with the biggest quotation marks in this match in particular, because at this level, at this bar that these players are clearing, the mistakes are literally just you hit one too many 300s.
Absolutely, and with Ting holding on to that momentum throughout the entire map in specific, that has really excelled in being able to just simply deliver such a strong performance on the side of Oh My Days, with Mini Egg managing to back it up very, very well. That insane ratio on the side of Ting, getting like only one great and a 997k almost on this LN coordination map at 190 BPM. But obviously, that's nothing. But obviously, the performances on Mystia's Izakaya page is nothing to scoff at under any means. They've still, Verdant and Wonder still delivering such strong performances in their favor as well, even when they are the ones at the disadvantage. But despite that, with Oh My Days Skylanders getting a clean match point with a straight like sort of road as they shift the gas. Like, just making it through this match without any mistakes that really faltered them. It seems like it is potentially going to be Mystia Izakaya patrons' final pick, as we can see, and that is a situation that they don't want to be in, as this is like their one chance to be able to keep themselves in the winner's bracket. They probably... It's very unfortunate that they did like get into a situation like this, and it seems like out of desperation, they're going to be going for their Rise to Protect to probably end things off, unless if they manage to pull something out of the bag that they really, really need right now.
And they're really going to need it. I mean, I feel like a broken record at this point. It's doing no to their own. This is just you're running into a really, really good early game team. This is arguably one of the hardest matchups they could have gotten in first round to go up against. It'll probably get easier around a 16 losers, but it's just drawing the short end of the stick. Sometimes it happens, but as we see who is going to be coming in for this one, potentially see some shakeups. It's like I said, everybody on Oh My Days can play everything in this map pool, so it's just a matter of who can bear listening to the music sometimes. I know a lot of players are very vocal about their musical preferences, so it's basically just who's willing to sit through it at this rate. It's gonna be Ting and Zubin this time.
Yeah. If only there was some Nanahira in this map pool.
Oh, that would have been the icing on the cake, wouldn't it have?
Absolutely, yeah.
But with that being said, we can move on into map 5 of this best of 11. Oh My Days Skylanders already on match point to start this match off, despite Verdant and Wander being able to put up some pretty nutty team scores. It's just on the other side, equally as nutty, if not nuttier. But getting on into this is just 3 minutes of pure, nearly uninterrupted jump stream. A couple of breaks in between to kind of cleanse the palate. But once you're in, you're basically in it for the long haul. Very one-hand trilly, two-hand trills all over the place. Some low-key implied anchors on the outer columns, gonna cause a tiny bit of discomfort, but not enough to to throw anybody off their game, as everybody is going to be riding that 99.9. Verdant picking up the only real source of damage here to their accuracy, down into that 99.8 range. And the fact that we have to say that 99.8 is the lowest accuracy in the lobby is atrocious. I don't understand how players can perform at this level. I don't understand we have a lobby full of players performing at this level, but alas, I have been around the block enough times to kind of become numb to it as we make our way into the second third here. 99.97s for both Ting and Zubin in lockstep with each other. Not the Trill and the couple of LNs not catching anybody by surprise. As we continue on into the back half of the map, Wander doing their best to try and keep pace with both Zubin and Ting. It is only 2,700 points with half the map left to go. This is still catchable by a miss. It has to be a miss at this point.
Absolutely, and with the likes of Mystia's Izakaya Patrons not having any options, there really is like no other option than to just simply go fatal, just simply go raw with this pick alone. Like, either to just properly lock into the accuracy department to really try matching the likes of Zubin or Ting as earlier, or potentially a miss from the side of Oh My Day Skylanders, which based off of like some of the based off each of the individual performances earlier, I have a feeling that it's probably like the least likely thing that is like really going to be happening here, especially with like even with these like really trilly motions and a lot of these like pretty rigid anchors in these just jump stream patterns in general. It's only really going to allow the likes of Oh My Day Skylanders to just simply thrive off of everything. There is really no room for error on the side of Oh My Day Skylanders to make here. Even when they have built that strong foundation, they really are just not going to lose this momentum under any means. And as soon as they just simply just press on the gas in their like vehicle, they are not going to allow themselves going into a car crash. As unfortunate as that scenario is for Mystia's Izakaya Patrons, which is the one thing that they are probably praying for right now, as this is going to end up being a full-on sweep from the side of Oh My Day Skylanders, taking it 5-0 in the round of 32 and punching a ticket into the round of 16 with ease.
No. I mean, I wouldn't say with ease. Look at the scores from the other side. Like 994, 996. Yeah. Once again, will get you a point 99 times out of 100. They just ran into the 100th scenario where you've got players that are just double-digit V1 double S'ing for fun at this point.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Just how this is the 8th seed. There are 7 teams that had better scores than these guys. What? No, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. I am floored. My jaw is. I am currently picking it up off of said floor because of the level of performance that I'm seeing. The fact that a 20th seed can put up scores like that as well. Like, again, just running into the brick wall round 1 is unfortunate. Like, commiserations to Mystia's Izakaya Patrons. That is arguably one of the worst matchups they could have got in round 1 in Oh My Day Skylanders, but I mean, credit to them. They put up the scores that they needed to, and then some.
Absolutely, and with Oh My Day Skylanders taking that win, that does not mean the rest of the competition is going to be such a walk in the park for them. As much as this match may have seemed like it for them, like, basically, can I just mention how there was literally 0 misses, like, at all from anyone during
missed
the whole match? Literally, yeah!
Literally nobody missed. It was 5 perfect performances. It was literally just separated by ratio. But that is just how the cookie can crumble sometimes. The round of 16 winners bracket is set. We have the matchups for next weekend. And then in the losers bracket, thankfully the first weekend of losers bracket, so no conditionals to worry about. So don't have to worry about all the scheduling hell that comes with that. But we do have elimination matches starting next weekend. So, I mean, Epic Man, unless you got anything else left to add, go ahead and close this out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there isn't really anything else that I have to say. We basically went through this match head on and just basically saw that as soon as it started, it was basically like a very tight battle. It definitely could have gone in like various directions had it been for human error, but it seems like that is not going to be taking the cake here as it stands. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Well done to everyone in this match, and we do wish the best of luck to all the players coming into the round of 16.
Absolutely. So round of 16 showcase is the last order of business. Don't have a defined time for that just yet. Keep an eye out on the Discord for that. But until then, we'll catch you guys later.
See you then.